for a lot of clinics and a lot of practice owners that I talk with, they chase the new patient, right? And that's fine. You've got to get new patients in the door. But where they really miss the gold mine in their practice is all the people that they've helped before. And that is how most small businesses grow, is through their customers, right? The repeat customers. And, you either got recurring revenue or reoccurring revenue. And so for practices, we want reoccurring revenue where people would come back for care. And sometimes we just think in our mind, like, hey, they had a great experience. They loved us. They're going to come back if they need it.
Yeah.
Well, the reality is that's not how things happen. Right? People get busy. They have other choices. And most people don't want to come back to PT unless they really have to. So they need some prodding. And that's where marketing comes into play. So for a lot of practices, if you shift your mindset and if you look at your processes for communicating to your customer list, whether it's a patient that was just in or a patient that was in 3 years ago, how are you maintaining your level of expertise with them and that thought process in their mind of being the experts? And that's where you've got to push out content, right? You got to market to them on a consistent basis.
What you just said there, I think, is super subtle, but really, really important. You talked about this idea of like they're chasing everybody, they're chasing new people and leaving all that reoccurring revenue or that other money on the table. Are there some rules of thumb when you're doing the napkin math of like, how much money are we talking about here? Like when you think about how much they're leaving on the table by solely focusing on new patients?
A lot. And so there's two key metrics here that you should be looking at from a marketing perspective in your practice. One is your patient acquisition cost. So what does it actually cost you to get someone in the door from your marketing, advertising, the cost of, say, a marketing director, if you have one of those in your clinic, basically adding up all that expense and dividing it into the number of new patients you get per month, right? Super simple, patient acquisition cost. And so you really want to bring that below 100. And if you're below 50, you're really crushing it. Now, the other important metric to look at is your patient lifetime value. And that's where this thought comes into play of how are you marketing to your past customer list? Because if that new patient comes in one time, and let's say they come in for, make it simple, 10 visits at $100 a visit, right? That's $1,000 value of a patient coming in. Now, if that patient never comes back in again, you made $1,000 and it cost you maybe $100 to get them in. But if you continue to market to that past patient and they send a friend or family member, or they come back in for care, now they come in for a second cycle of care, and let's say that's another 10 visits, $100 a visit, $1,000. Now you made $2,000 off of that patient. That email marketing, text marketing, maybe some direct mail marketing, whatever you may be doing to your customer list, the cost of that is super low. And so your cost for that total patient acquisition comes down even further. But the main thing that you're trying to drive up is the patient lifetime value. I was actually doing a podcast today, and I was interviewing a physical therapist that has a 2-location practice in the Northeast, and he started up a stretch program, right? And so he's looking at cash added services into his practice where that increases the lifetime value of the patient, right? Because they come in for their PT care, but what do we do afterwards? Are we taking care of their well-being into the future? And what kind of membership programs do we have to offer them where they continue to work on their health and they pay us for doing it? And so now your lifetime value definitely increases for that. So those are the two metrics to really look at, is patient acquisition cost and your customer lifetime value.
If you'd like to learn more about Strata PT and see how our EMR and RCM works, head over to stratapt.com to book a demo.